Welcome back. The First Tech Fund aims to uplift low-income New York City students in underrepresented communities through a one-year leadership enrichment program. The program provides free tech access, mentors, and more. Co-founder and the CEO of the organization, Josue De Paz, and Alumni Success Coordinator Celine Paulino join me to discuss the program and how they use mentorship to connect with students. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Of course, thanks for having us.
Now, as founder or co-founder, can you explain how the First Tech Fund began?
Of course, so the organization started in 2020 at the height of the pandemic, and really it was a culmination of both the professional experiences I had, but also the personal experiences that I had growing up. I grew up not only low income, but in a single parent household, and I also grew up undocumented. And so for me, the journey to college, the journey to the workforce was really challenging, and I didn't always feel supported. And so once I was able to break into the corporate sector, once I was able to understand how these systems worked, how they operated, I really wanted to make sure to give back to the community and help others who possess the talent but don't always have the resources or the opportunity to be successful.
And I'm so glad that you shared that and kind of like, put another layer, because there's so many layers as to why children or, students in New York City feel that they, possibly can't reach their fullest potential. What are some other barriers New York City students face that make these resources available necessary?
Yeah, I think for a lot of students, the information gap exists where they might be first generation, they might not have a parent or a sibling who's gone to college, so doing the college process or figuring out the scholarships or financial aid can be really challenging. And so if you're missing any of those key pieces of information, you can be left behind, even if you have the talent and the work ethic to be successful. And so for us, we really just try to be a community of support, a community of resources. We try to connect our students not only to free technology and laptops, but also Wi-Fi, the mentors, like you said, but also information about what pathways exist for college and also what pathways exist for careers.
Now, I think this is so exciting, especially for this generation where we always talk about how technology, is affecting our students. How do your organization use technology to address some of these challenges and actually put, younger generations at the forefront?
Yeah, so not only do we provide technology, but we also try to help students understand the best ways to leverage that technology, right? From thinking about what platforms they can use to find internships like LinkedIn, helping them update those profiles, to also helping them take their first professional headshot, just really trying to find ways for us to use technology to bring forward the skills and talents they have. And help them find those 21st century opportunities that exist and that are the careers of tomorrow that we hope New York City students are able to partake in.
Now, can you talk a little bit about the weekly learning opportunities?
Yeah, of course. So every week we send out a newsletter. It's just a quick email to the students where we list any opportunities that are happening within New York City that will help them in anything that they're interested in. So we also include scholarships, it may be internships, jobs, anything that we think they would benefit from having access to. And so we really make it a point to do the research a bit for them, so that way it's a lot easier for them to just look into it, apply, and it may be introducing them to things that they would never really think about bumping into or looking at.
And how do you prioritize mentorship in the program, and how does that work?
Yeah, so we really try to make sure that we are really specific with students about what it is that they want to learn, and then try to connect them with a mentor who fits in that space. So rather than trying to fit what is the phrase, a square peg in a round hole, we really try to customize the experience for every student. So if you one day want to work in healthcare, we try to find you a mentor in healthcare. If you want to work in finance, a mentor in finance, et cetera, et cetera. So we really try to make sure that we take each individual student, understand what their dreams and goals and aspirations are, and then really try to find them someone who fits within that future pathway.
Now, you said something that I just thought was so interesting, and that it could range from healthcare to business. How do you kind of work with these students who have varying different ideas of like what they want to be in the future, and like find somebody that they connect with through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just really lucky in that we have really great partners. We've been able to partner with great companies like Snapchat, MasterCard, and so we have a really great network of organizations that provide us with mentors. But we're also very fortunate that we have support from organizations like New Schools Venture Fund, who are really helping us to scale up the resources that we have, the staff that we have, to offer more mentors, more companies, so that our students really are able to get that specific expertise that they're looking for.
Now, Celine, through your role as Alumni Success Coordinator, you're assisting with the creation of the Dual Impact Internship Program. Can you tell me a little bit more about that initiative?
Yeah, so our first part of our program is the 1-year fellowship where students come in as high school students. Right now we're accepting 11th and 12th graders. And so that first part is really getting them access to college and those college readiness opportunities. But once they graduate from the 1-year fellowship, they become what we consider alumni. And so we really make it a point to say to our alumni that they are still part of the First Tech Fund community, and we're still there to support them in any endeavors that they have, especially, again, just reiterating, a lot of our fellows and our alumni are first-generation college students. So even getting them into college that first year, they do need that extra support that a lot of their peers may have. And so one of those things that we do for our alumni is the Dual Impact Internship Program. So with that, we hope to give our alumni their first workforce experience in something that's outside of customer service, or maybe not a job that they had during their time in high school, but more into that corporate world or healthcare, anything that they're necessarily interested in. So that, again, we give them that step in, it adds something to their resume, and we kind of equal that playing field with their peers who have a lot more resources or privileges.
Now, can you actually expand on that a little bit more? Because I think for so many people, especially from lower income communities, a lot of our first jobs are maybe like working in retail or things that, not that they're, there's nothing wrong with it, but as far as career-wise, there's not a lot of longevity and growth in those type of roles. So can you explain, also maybe why you wanted to highlight, careers that are just have a little bit more growth and longevity in them?
Yeah, of course. Just from my own personal experience, I was born and raised in the Bronx. I come from a low-income family. My parents were both immigrants. So I was one of those students who didn't have access to the same resources. And I grew up around people in my peers, high school. We all had the same type of experience where we were just trying to work to survive in that sense. It was only once I got to college and I really looked around to my peers who had more privilege than I did, that I really realized, like, oh, someone is working an internship with their parents who are in some hospital, or their parents are lawyers, so they get that first experience. And so that workforce experience really changes how you interview. It really changes, again, like you were saying, the career ladder for them. A lot of times they don't know what they're really interested in because their only experiences are in those customer service roles or those things, retail. And so it's just really important that they're able to explore those areas, kind of get that experience and expertise, so that once they do finally find what they're interested in, they're able to move on up and they have had that practice.
Now, what are the requirements for becoming part of the program?
Yeah, so for us, we try to be as open and inclusive as possible. So we don't have a GPA requirement, there's no immigration requirement. Anyone in 11th or 12th grade can apply. We just have a couple quick essays that students do, and then we have a blinded process. So when we're reviewing information, the reviewers can't see your name or your borough or your gender. They're really just seeing kind of like the essays and the effort that you put forward to just be as equitable as possible. And so those are really the only requirements. We're just looking for students who are excited about the future, who want and have that desire to learn and desire to grow. We're not looking for 4.0 students necessarily, though. If you have a 4.0, that's not a problem either.
But it opens so many doors for so many children, because I know that for a lot of people who want to be a part of programs like this, they'll see like a GPA and it'll discourage them. So when I first saw that, I was amazed that that was something that was a part of this program, and I thought it was amazing. So I mean, I'm not a student, but I would say like thank you on behalf of so many students that were like want to be great, but they feel like they have to be already great for for them to be a part of a program like this. Now, when does enrollment begin, and what can people do to kind of sign up?
Yeah, so enrollment has actually already started. We had our launch on January 8th. So we have our applications open on our website if you just go to firsttechfund.com. We also have a newsletter, and yeah, it's just a quick link. You click, you apply, and our applications are going to be rolling through, and we'll let you know once we're going through the process.
Now, what can students and their families do to ensure that they get the most out of this program?
Yeah, I think it's really about the time that you invest, right? We have a ton of different types of sessions, so anywhere from how to write the college essay to how financial aid works to how to interview for your first job. We have information about careers, and then we also do partnerships with corporate partners where you actually get to go to their offices and see what life is like at one of these companies, but you can't learn if you don't show up. Right, so we are really looking for students who are ready to commit, who really have those goals in mind that they want to accomplish. Because once we figure out with the students what it is that they want to accomplish, then we can surround them with the right resources to get them from where they're at to the dreams that they would like to achieve one day.
And we're just about to, end the interview, but, could you quickly give, as you work closely with students, can you just give them any advice on, what they should do just to ensure that they are successful as well in the program?
Yeah, I think it's very important to believe in yourself. It's really easy to feel like that imposter syndrome and think that you're not where you belong, but it's just as you work just as hard as anyone else around you, and as long as Josue was saying, you put that time and effort in, then wherever you end up, I'm sure you belong there. And if you're putting your best foot forward, then that's all anyone could ever ask of you.
Well, I want to thank you both so much for joining us and having this conversation. I think it's important, especially in boroughs like the Bronx, that students just know that programs like this exist and that there are people there to support them. So I appreciate you both so much, for joining us and having this conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
If you or someone you know may be interested in learning more about this program, please go to www.firsttechfund.com. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Open right after this.